Welcome back to Legacy of Leaders, where we interview the brightest and most interesting leaders in the community, and today is no different. I'm your host, Whitney Mincey, and I am joined by a very special guest, Mr. Alessandro Apolito from Cheers904. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Whitney.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that have not heard about Cheers904, one of my favorite businesses to talk about, go ahead and tell us about it and what you guys do.
Yeah, so Cheers904 is a luxury mobile bartending service.
Yes.
We specialize in high-end weddings, anniversary parties, birthday parties, at-home cocktail making classes. We specialize in our, custom cocktails and, high-end service with our professional bartenders.
And you mentioned custom cocktails. I've had a few of them, the pleasure of having a few of them, and they are so good. You guys come up with the greatest mixtures of flavors.
Yeah, I think the secret is, we put a lot of time and thought into our recipes. We put a lot of time and effort into our ingredients, which are always fresh, whether they're grown at home or always organic, prepared, by us. So that's what makes it, I think, a high-end and luxury service.
Yeah. So how did you get into this?
A couple years ago, Katie, our partner, my wife, Lauren, and I all decided to start Cheers904. It was sort of born out of COVID, where people were having events either at home, around the home, and in the neighborhood, at venues that were sort of non-traditional venues where they needed to bring in various vendors, and we were one of those vendors. And so we saw that there was a need, and we've been proven right over the last 2 years.
So for those that are watching thinking, this sounds amazing, how do I get involved or how do I partake in the amazing drinks that you guys are making, what does an ideal client look like for you?
Well, it might be a bride and groom planning a wedding, or someone planning a special anniversary party for their parents or for themselves, a birthday party either for adult or for children. So we actually do a lot of kids' birthdays because obviously the adults need to have a good time too.
Right.
And so the way they start the process is they go to Cheers904.com. They maybe want to peruse our various services in terms of the bars that we have, the service, such as signature cocktail service or just beer and wine service, and they go to the inquiry tab.
Okay.
Once they have an idea of how many people, the date, and things like that about their event, then they just fill in as much information as they can. We respond usually within 24 hours or less with a quote and maybe suggest some ideas on what they might want to have for their event.
Great. And so what's the experience like on the day of the event? You guys come, you set up, how does that work?
Yeah, so depending on the type of service they have, if they rent one of our bars, our bartenders will show up at the event at least an hour beforehand, set up the bar. That might be indoor or outdoor, depending on the venue. We will make sure that we have all the ice, the cups, the napkins, the mixers. We will decorate our bar to suit to that event.
Oh, wow.
There might be other vendors like balloon vendors or flower vendors that might decorate on or around our bar as well.
Nice.
To match the event. And then we will usually do a standard 4-hour service, and then we'll stay around to clean up and make sure that everything's wrapped up on our end.
It sounds like it's extremely convenient for them.
I think that's where we show a lot of value to our clients. People are throwing these events to enjoy them, not to work them. I think we've all been at events where we're stuck either serving food, cleaning up, serving and making drinks. And so what we try to do is we try to relieve the event planner, and the person who's our client of those, burdens with regard to, drinks and serving drinks and cleanup of the bar, so that they can really enjoy their special event.
Yeah, makes sense. So as a successful entrepreneur, what would you say the hardest part of entrepreneurship is?
Well, as a father and a husband, and I think my wife would say the same, it's always balancing, our family.
Yeah.
Because the reality is our business is primarily in the nights and weekends, right? And so for most people, that's their free time. That's their time to spend with their family.
Yeah.
And so balancing the amount of work we can take on, and do it successfully and do it the way we want to do it, the best way we know how, we need to balance, that against, what our other commitments are with our family.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer that a lot of people will be able to relate to. So thank you for that. And thank you so much for being here. It looks like we are out of time, unfortunately. But if you want to learn more about Alessandro and Cheers904, make sure you go to dailynewsnetwork.com. All of his information will be there. And we will see you next time on Legacy of Leaders.
Thank you.